Most people think the mountains are empty once the sun goes down. That if you're alone out there, you're actually alone. But every one of these stories started the same way. Quiet woods, no movement, no sound, until something made itself known. These are 3 true Appalachian mountain horror stories. And once you hear them, you'll understand why some places are never really empty. I didn't believe in Sasquatches before that trip. I want that to be clear. I grew up hearing jokes about it, seeing blurry photos online, but I always put it in the same category as ghost sightings and UFOs, people wanting meaning where there was none. That changed on the 3rd night. We were camping in a remote section of the Appalachians, the kind of trail that doesn't show up clearly on most apps. No cell service, no ranger stations nearby, just trees, elevation, and silence that felt heavier the deeper we went. It was me, my boyfriend Evan, and another couple we'd met at a trailhead earlier that day. We decided to camp near the same clearing, close enough to hear each other if something went wrong. The first 2 nights were uneventful, cold, quiet, normal. On the 3rd afternoon, while hiking further uphill, I noticed something tall moving between the trees. At first I thought it was a trick of the light, shadows stretching in the late sun, but it moved wrong, too upright, too slow. It didn't sway like a deer or dart like a bear, it just passed behind the trees, one long step at a time. I pointed it out to Evan. By the time he looked, it was gone. That night, while collecting firewood, we came across a small wooden hut set back from the trail. It looked old, not abandoned, but not maintained either. Inside was a rough bench, a rusted lantern, and a weathered notebook sitting on a crate. A camper's log. Most of the entries were boring, dates, weather notes, names. Then one entry near the back caught my eye. Heard a scream around 2:14 a.m. Not an animal I recognize, long, deep, echoed through the valley, probably Sasquatch lull. The lull didn't make it funny, it made it worse. That night, just after 2, we heard it. A scream. Low, drawn out, almost human but not quite. It came from uphill, then echoed across the trees, rolling through the valley like it was searching for something. No animal I've ever heard sounded like that. It wasn't anger, it wasn't pain, it was calling. Then something tall moved just beyond the firelight. I couldn't see details, only the outline. Broad shoulders, long arms, too tall to be a person. Evan whispered, "Don't move." We didn't sleep. By morning, there were no tracks near the tents. But on the path leading uphill where the scream came from, branches had been snapped clean off, far higher than any person could reach. When we packed up, the hut was gone. The clearing was still there. The trees were the same, but the hut wasn't. I wasn't supposed to still be on the trail after dark. I knew that. The sun dipped faster than I expected, and I told myself I'd make it back before it got fully dark. I was wrong. By the time the forest swallowed the last light, everything looked the same. Every turn felt familiar and unfamiliar at once. I checked my phone, no signal. My flashlight worked, but it didn't help the way I expected. It didn't make me feel safer. It just carved tunnels through the darkness. That's when I heard the first thud. Not a footstep, too heavy, too spaced out. It came from behind me, once, then again. Each time it landed with a weight that felt deliberate. I stopped. The sound stopped. I told myself it was my imagination. Maybe a tree falling, maybe rocks shifting. I kept walking. The thuds started again. Closer this time. I picked up my pace. The thuds matched me, not in rhythm, in distance. Every time I moved faster, they closed the gap. When I slowed, they slowed. I tried shining my light behind me. The beam hit trees, bushes, nothing else, but the sound was real. I broke into a run. My breathing got loud, panicked, uneven. The thuds turned into impacts, something heavy hitting the ground hard enough that I felt it through my boots. Branches cracked. Leaves scattered. Whatever it was didn't need to run. I ran until my lungs burned, until my legs started to shake. When I tripped and fell, the sound stopped instantly. I lay there frozen, waiting to feel something grab me. Nothing did. After a long minute, I stood and kept moving. Slowly this time, flashlight shaking. Eventually, I recognized a bend in the trail, then a marker, then the edge of the parking area. I never looked back again. The next morning, I returned with a ranger. We followed the section where I ran. There were no footprints behind mine, but there were deep circular impressions in the dirt, spaced too far apart to be human. I thought I was hiking alone. That's what made the footprints so unsettling. It had rained earlier that morning, thus chicks leaving the trail soft and dark. Perfect for showing detail. I noticed the prints about an hour into the hike. Boots, similar size to mine, heading the same direction. I assumed another hiker was ahead of me. Then I noticed something wrong. The footprints were fresh, too fresh. Still holding water in the edges, but I hadn't passed anyone. No voices, no movement, just trees and fog. I kept walking, telling myself I'd catch up. The prints stopped suddenly in a small clearing. No turn, no trail offshoot, just stopped. I felt watched. When I turned back toward the path, there were new prints behind me, deeper, heavier, not boot-shaped, wider, longer. They overlapped the original trail. That's when I realized the first footprints might not have been human either. A branch snapped nearby. I didn't look. I walked backward slowly, keeping my eyes on the trail. The footprints followed, and one step for every step I took. Then they stopped. I ran. At the trailhead, I checked behind me one last time. The prints ended at the tree line, but one final set, faint, almost deliberate, pointed toward my car. Like it already knew where I was going. Some people say the mountains forget what happens out there, that the trees keep secrets better than people ever could. But if these stories prove anything, it's that whatever was watching them might still be watching now. If you want to hear more true stories like these, you can subscribe, but only if you're ready for what comes next. And if you're alone right now, maybe don't look behind you.